Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. So we were discussing about the various parts of mind. What is mind and how the mind works. Today, we will try to elaborate it in a more deeper way. So, ignorance at the spiritual level itself is the desire rising in the mental zone. And the desire are amplified in the grosser sense world of objects as our actions. Actions express themselves as per the quality and nature of their desires, which in their turn advertise the degree and depth of ignorance. The attempt of religion, any religion, is to eliminate ignorance through various spiritual practices until the devotees or followers come to gain the light of wisdom. The ignorance in man manifesting as desires in his mental plane comes out into the world expressed as actions. Therefore, the kind and gracious sages or rishis advised us, means all seekers, all sadhakas, that first of all, to purify, to control, and to regulate the texture of their actions. Actions in the grosser level, okay? So what they suggested us, what they requested us, what they ordered us, be good, be kind, be tolerant, be merciful, be selfless. Those are some of the advices common in all great religions of the world. When actions are thus, means in this way, controlled and purified, they being but expressions of the thoughts of the actor, these thoughts get themselves purified. So thoughts are, we found, that they generated by desires, and so pure thoughts naturally propel pure desires. Desires we found, are nothing other than the expressions of our spiritual activities, or the English terminology is folly. FOLLY. What is that? It means to realize and experience our all full spiritual nature is to feel the fullness of life. So long as this is not experienced, one feels a sense of sad imperfection, and man's intellect suggests the method of regaining this sense of fullness. So these are called desires. Each desire in the bosom of man is an attempt of his intellect to discover a fuller satisfaction in his life. Clear? So the ignorance of our own real nature, which we were talking about, which in the language of the rishis is called avidya. Clear? So all spiritual practices are scientific techniques by which we purify, strengthen, and direct the activities of the subtle body so as to help it to commit, commit suicide, we can tell. In Japanese, there is one terminology that is harakiri. I don't know or not. The ancient technique of heroic suicide practiced by the Japanese soldiers in the Second World War. So the thing is, with the end of the avidya, or of our own ignorance, the eternal knowledge comes to shine where it was not aware of itself before. And the process of evolution reaches its destination or perfection. So it must be the experience of all of you that a discipline of action, though in itself pretty difficult, is to the majority of you very easy compared to the endless strain in bringing about a similar discipline in your world of thoughts. For example, the vow of celibacy or brahmacharya. Suppose brahmacharya brata, pratigna, though difficult, but it is not impossible for a man of will and determination. But to accomplish and perfect brahmacharya of the mind is, you will all certainly admit, almost an impossibility. We may, due to the values of decency inculcated in us through education, good breeding, culture, and social pressure, desist from vulgar animalisms like rape or arson or snatching, looting, etc. But how few of us are innocent of these criminalities in our minds. So, self-appreciation also needed for that. Thus, though the goal of all sadhakas, spiritual seekers, is the elimination of ignorance or avidya, the elimination means the elimination of all our matter envelopments, jada buddhi, jada chintan. We are advised by the beloved sages of old who understood perfectly the difficulties of an ordinary man, that the most practical and the most easy way of controlling avidya is through a control of our actions in the outer world. Thus, in all religions of the world, ethical and moral perfections actually, are insisted upon as the fundamental qualification to enter the portals of the temples or the churches or the mosques or the gurudwaras or anything. Without these, nowadays, the faithful all around the globe are flocking to these sacred institutions, and though they all sincerely and faithfully go through the mechanical processes of the rituals which were prescribed, even after a lifetime of devotion and worship, the gods seem to be as far away from them as they were when they first reached there. Clear? So, we will not discuss here to go into a comparative study of all the religions of the world with reference to their respective emphasis upon the moral and ethical values of life. So, the three main cornerstones upon which the temple of Sanatanis, the temple of Vaidika Dharma, has been so elaborately built, seem to be the triple insistence on honesty, non-injury, and self-restraint. Honesty is satyam, non-injury is ahimsa, and self-restraint is brahmacharya. So volumes of scriptures, volumes of dharma shastras that flood the libraries in India or around the globe are all annotations, amplifications, and comments upon these three pregnant words. The Aryan India raised their entire culture of living, thinking, and feeling upon the upon these three sacred foundations, the sons of the sages and seers of Upanishad planned their individual, domestic, communal, social, national, and international life upon these three fundamental duties of man unto himself. In these days of the rockets and planes of supersonic speed, in the sick hurry of our life, when each 24 hours day is not sufficient even to meet all our life's necessities, it is absurd and most impractical to demand that you should go through the entire literature and know for yourself the real import of those three laws of life. But the present generation has one great blessing in that they are acutely intelligent and can show a million times more discrimination than the past generation. Nature always compensates. Thus, if you are given a direct insight into the very secret principle behind these three fundamental values, Satyam, Ahimsa, and Brahmacharya, you will be able to apply them in life without going through the entire literature. Clear? So, what is Satyam or truthfulness? Because we have many misconceptions about these three. What is Satyam? What is Ahimsa? What is Brahmacharya? Others also there, Asteya, Achaurya, all those things are there. But these three are the pillars. So Satyam or truthfulness has come to be used so often that we seem to know its implications very well. But in no given set of circumstances can an ordinary man come to a definite decision as to how to act truthfully. Without going much into the details, I will try to touch upon the essence of these teachings. So suppose brahmacharya or self-restraint is not a mere control of the sex impulses. It is a life lived under a strict policy of self-control in all the activities of all senses that go out into the fields of their respective objects. Eyes go to the form, ears go for the sound, tongue always go for the taste, like that. Nose always ready to uh, take the smell, and skin always ready to touch the thing. In museum where it is written clearly, don't touch here, we are very much eager to touch that. Don't pluck the flower. It is written very nicely, blossom. How sincere it is to look here and there and just pluck. Always, touching and grabbing. Brahmacharya means controlling these things, controlling our jnanendriya, senses of knowledge, control it with a proper understanding from their respective field. Clear? Thus, to talk too much or walk very long distances or to eat even a morsel more than is essential are all crimes against a life of self-restraint. If brahmacharya be thus a value of life applied in the physical plane, then ahimsa or non-injury is the value of life to be lived in the mental zone. Non-injury is not an inert, ineffectual slave mentality, allowing ourselves to be killed or to be persecuted by any individual or individuals. Cowardice is not sanctioned by non-injury. Jains are very, very much ahimsa sampanna. Once in a Jain family, one thief entered, very rich businessman. And the thief was caught by the sons of that rich fellow. And whenever anyone catch any thief, they start beating as usual. There also the sons started beating and the thieves are crying. I will not do, I will not do, I have not done, like that, like that. Suddenly the father came out and started shouting, "Hey, what are you doing? Have you forgotten that we are giants? We should not harm anyone else." Now, dad, thief, that's why we did all those things. Arey, fool, don't do that. Don't break your rule of ahimsa. What should we do? Put him into a bag and just tie it up and throw him in the river. The river will kill that person, not we. This is not the act of ahimsa. Ahimsa or non-injury in its real spiritual import means, therefore, kill not with cruel animal intentions. Non-injury is the spirit that should dominate in the plane of our motives. Our motives should not be polluted by ideas of cruelty or hatred. Thus, if you hold up and fight against a robber in your own home or stand up against the unwise policies of a priest or a president, you are not transgressing ahimsa. To kill a bug or a mosquito, or to smash a serpent or a scorpion in your house is not a cruelty. While to allow these to grow and flourish in the name of non-violence is madness, sanctioned only by a misinterpreted culture. It is this misinterpretation that has brought about the fall, decay, and death of the glorious era of, Hindu dominance. Elimination of the wicked and the protection of the good is the very creed of every true Sanatan, whether he be a priest or god or government. Thus, non-injury, as advised by the architects of the Sanatan culture, means popularly known as Hindu culture, is only a value of life to be applied at the level of our motives. Our motives should be non-injurious, blessed, and pure. If in the execution of these motives, we may have to weed out the thorny shrubs to make the garden beautiful and gay, this is no cruelty. This is not himsa. Now, satyam, or truthfulness, is the spirit to govern our intellectual world within. Having got some experience from the outer world and having cooked it well in the mind, when it is digested by the intellect into a shapely decision or determination or conclusion, satyam or truthfulness is to have the honesty of your own intellectual conviction to act thereafter in terms of that knowledge. The world outside is indeed a great university in which all of us are free students. Nature is every day, moment to moment, giving us a variety of chances to learn through innumerable experiences. Man, provided with an intellect and a mind, is the only being who can read and understand this unwritten script of nature's language. Having thus learned, man is expected to act upon his own gained wisdom. But many of us do not, and naturally we suffer. We don't want to learn, that is the problem. We don't open up our eyes. So, man provided with an intellect and a mind is the only being who can read and understand these unwritten scripts of nature's language. Having thus learned, man is expected to act up to his own gained wisdom. But many of us do not, and naturally we suffer. A majority of us have forgotten the use of our intellect and mind and dumping them in disuse. They have lost their varnished efficiency. Believe me, you also know the same thing. At least 100 telephone number were memorized by me before mobile phone. Oh, this person, this is the number. This person, this is the phone number. Now I can't remember my own phone number. Believe me. How nice the adding system is. 2 plus 3 is 5, 5 plus 8 is 13. Nowadays, when calculator or mobile phone, small addition and subtraction, people can't do without the calculator. I think you experience the same thing. So, dharma or religion, you can say roughly, dharma by its insistence upon this principle, be truthful to your own previously gained wisdom, is only insisting that we should constantly and consistently exercise our subtle bodies constituted of the mind and the intellect. Hari Om Tat Sat.